Hey there, Looma. It's Denise from LoomaHat.com, and this beauty is the tilted block stitch. It's got great eyelets and some garter, which gives it that curvy look, and it's not 100% reversible, but I think it looks great on both sides. Now I want to give you that heads up that this is a stitch pattern only, so there's no cast on or cast off, because again, it's not a project. However, because you guys always ask, how about we start with a little information about my project. I'm going to be using the pattern to make a shawl, and I want it to be really low profile, so I just have one knit stitch as an edge, and then I'm going to work the 16 stitch pattern, and I'm going to repeat that stitch pattern 2 times, and I'm going to give myself another single knit stitch edge. I did just a regular E-wrap cast on, and I tightened that cast on, which is why you see this leftover yarn right here. That's how much I tightened. And I only have one row for the first border, and then I'm probably going to just do the super stretchy bind off that I will also tighten. And as you can see, I'm using stitch markers at the beginning and the end of each repeat of the stitch pattern, as well as in midway. So we're going to start with what I'm going to call row 0, which is your setup right after your cast on. So you're going to knit 1, E-wrap 1 4 times, and then purl 8. So remember that I have a 1 knit stitch edge, so I use a U-wrap. That's not part of the stitch pattern. This is the beginning of the stitch pattern. You're going to do a U-wrap, which is where you half wrap and then knit off, and then an E-wrap where you take the working yarn and you're going to completely wrap the peg and then take the bottom loop over the top, and you're going to knit off. And it's those 2 stitches that you're going to repeat 4 times. So that was your first set. Here's the second one. That was your U-wrap. Here's an E-wrap, so that's 2. You're going to do it again, U, and then an E-wrap. That's 3, and here's your last set. You're going to do a U-wrap and then an E-wrap. That was your 4-time repeat of the knit 1, E-wrap 1, and now we're going to do purls, right? So from the top, you're going to scoop up the working yarn and create a new loop. Take the old loop off, put the new one on, and pull. Let's do that one more time. You're going to, from the top, scoop up and create a new loop with your working yarn. Take the old loop off the peg, put the new one on, and pull. So remember, you need 8 purls for this row 0, which is a setup row that you knit right after your cast on. Okay, this is just, you need to do this in order to then start row 1, because row 1 needs a little help. Hard to explain, but anyway, you're going to repeat these 16 stitches as many times as is necessary for your particular project. Now you're ready for row 1, and for row 1 you're going to knit 8 and then yarn over, knit 2 together 4 times. Sounds harder than it is. I'm going to go through everything. So remember that I start off with an edge, and then we're going to do those 8 knit stitches. Now the way I'm doing them, because when I knit in this direction, I prefer the flat stitch. I use them interchangeably, so don't worry about that. You can use the U-wrap. And now we're here where we're ready to do the yarn over, knit 2 together over here, right? So we start with the yarn over, and basically what you're going to do is take the stitch off the peg and unravel it, and then take that stitch over to where your knit 2 together is. You see that you have 2 stitches on that peg. Well, you're basically going to yarn over that first peg and then go to this one, and we're going to knit them together. All right, and just like before, remember when we did the combination of those 2 stitches 4 times. Well, we're going to do the same thing with the yarn over knit 2 together, so we're going to do it again. You're going to take the stitch off the peg, unravel it, and move it over to the next peg. And you can even do 2 of them, you know, at a time, or you can remove those 2 yarn overs and move them over. It kind of makes things go a little faster sometimes. It's all about whether you prefer to do it that way or not. I'm just giving you an option. So you yarn over, and then you can actually do the knit 2 together one at a time. They don't have to literally be knitted together, right? There you go. And so now I'm going to do again the yarn over knit 2 together. That's my 3rd one. And then remember that I need to do this combination of 2 stitches 4 times. So again, I take the stitch off the peg for the yarn over and move it over to my knit 2 together, and then take my yarn and literally yarn over that peg and knit those 2 stitches together, and there we go. So that's it. That's row 1, and you're going to repeat it as many times as necessary for your project. And now we're ready for row 2. So row 2 is going to look super familiar because it is exactly row 0. You're going to knit 1, E-wrap 1 4 times, and then purl 8. Alright, you guys know what you're doing, and so I'm just going to let you listen to some music while you watch me knit 1, E-wrap 1 4 times, and then purl 8. For rows 3 through 4, you're basically just going to repeat rows 1 and 2. And how does that look like? Row 3 looks exactly like row 1, and row 4 looks exactly like row 2. And then you're ready for row 5, which happens to be exactly like row 1, but I thought I'd let you guys see it again. So you know that you're going to do those 8 knit stitches, right? And then you're going to move to the yarn over knit 2 together, and you're doing those sets 4 times. Now I do want to give you a heads up, and that is that there is such a thing called slip slip knit. We're not going to use the term slip slip knit for this video or the written pattern, only because I want to make this as easy as possible. It's not the conventional way, but I just find that it's much easier when I do it this way. Alright, the other thing I wanted to tell you is that this is a flat version, so it's like for shawls and stuff. If you want to make a hat, the written version, which I'll put you a link in the description, will include this pattern in the round. Now, row 6 is super easy. You're just going to knit 8 and purl 8, but before I show you this super easy row, I wanted to give you like a bird's eye view of those yarn overs. And the reason why I want you to see them is that they do look different. They are looser than your other stitches, and so when you knit off, they're going to feel really funky, right? When you do that knit stitch, that U-wrap knit stitch, when you go to knit it off, it feels odd, but not to worry. It works out great, as you can see, so just knit off. Then row 7 looks super familiar. You're knitting 1, then E-wrap 1 4 times and purl 8, but I do want you to notice that you're now doing this on the other side, because this stitch is basically like a basket weave, but with eyelets. So you're doing basically the same pattern, you're just flipping it after row 6. So this is row 7, and you guys know how to do this. Row 8, you've already seen me do, but again, it's on the other side. So I'm going to let you see me doing this while you listen to some super cool music. Alright, enjoy.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her. You see her walking down the boulevard. She got the posture of a superstar. She looks so fly in those Gucci slides. Yeah, yeah, I wonder what she hides under her disguise. Yeah, 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 yeah. And all the girls around the world, they wanna be her. And all the dudes are trying to score like it's fever.
Now rows 9 through 12, you're just going to repeat rows 7 and 8 2 times. And for those of you that's a bit confusing, let me show you what that looks like. 9 and 10 look like 7 and 8, and 11 and 12 look like 7 and 8. Same thing, you're just repeating those 2 sets of rows 2 times. And then for row 13, super easy, you're going to knit 8 and then purl 8. For row 14, you're going to knit 1, E-wrap 1. You're going to do that set 4 times, and you're going to end with 8 purls. Now all you have to do is repeat rows 1 through 14 for the length of your project. Remember that this video is only the flat version of the stitch pattern. If you're needing to do anything in the round, you would need the written pattern, because this one does not translate for in the round, right? For like a hat or socks. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, that you will share it because that helps me immensely, and that you will comment, like, subscribe, and come back and loom with me again.